Oh, well, that's the way that goes. Next time, maybe. All right. So I want to welcome everybody here. I'm recording now, so I should start with a new sentence, not finish with an old sentence. Um, and so I want to welcome everybody here. This is April 20th. Um, and I see the red buds blooming outside, and it's a beautiful spring day. And except that it's cloudy and cold, so I'm still glad it's spring. But anyway, so I want to welcome you here and hope that your session tonight or whenever you do this session is really, um, really touches you, really helps you shift something that makes a difference, that a significant difference. And you say, like, wow, I can really feel the difference of this, right? Um, and that the work that we do here, again, continues to help you develop your capacity to bring tapping into, oh, that just reminds me of something, to bring tapping into a really regular part of your life. So there are a couple of things that I want to share, excuse me, as I start. One is, as I'm doing work to prepare for the presentation, I'm presenting at the annual 23rd, I think, annual um, International Energy Psychology Conference. 23rd, that's really pretty exciting. I think I presented at the 21st, maybe 20. I mean, I'm sorry about that. The second one, I'm like going backwards. So I've been presenting there on and off for a long time. But so in preparation, I'm presenting on developmental trauma and energy psychology, kind of how I work with developmental trauma from an energy psychology perspective. But I've been doing some research, and I found a reference to this research. I'm going to hopefully get the research itself. But this is a person, M.E. Maharaj, who did a study on the effects of tapping on genetic expression. And what they did was to take a swab of saliva, and then they extracted the mRNA, right? We've heard a little bit about the messenger RNA from it. And they tested it, and they ran the data on the mRNA, what showed up, and they did 1 hour of tapping. And after 1 hour of tapping, now I don't know any more of the details about that, but they did 1 hour of tapping. After that 1 hour, they again took a saliva sample. They got the data, they compared the data, and what they found was that 1 hour of EFT was associated, that's how they have to say it, right, with the regulation of 72 genes, 72 genes, including, and now I'm going to read, genes involved in learning and memory, in the regeneration of neural white matter. That's pretty important for us as we age. We want to keep that white matter up there. Enhanced synaptic connections, also really important. Regenerative, lost my place. Neuronal survival after DNA damage. Tumor suppression, insulin regulation, heightened immunity, improved inflammation, and antiviral activity. All those things. And then they go on to say that diminished pain, it positively impacted TBI, a traumatic brain injury. There was an epigenetic effect on stress genes. So the markers improved for the resting heart rate, for blood pressure, for immunoglobulin, and for hyperarousal. Of course, we know that for hyperarousal. So that was really impressive. And I have been feeling like I want to tell the whole world. 1 hour of tapping did that. And as you guys have been with me for a year now and more, that that many times when we're at the end of one of these tapping meditation sessions, what do I say? I'm like, no, and feel that the tapping that you have done tonight has positively impacted the genetic expression. So as your genes now, as the mRNA takes the information from the genes and replicates it, you're replicating health, greater health, just from the work we've done tonight. And there's the proof of it. So I was thrilled about that. So you'll be seeing me write about it. You'll be seeing it on Facebook. It's going to pop up because that's really exciting information. So then the other thing let me say this. So, a month ago now, maybe, Angela and I, she was on, one of the times she was on, and I asked her, how do you do tapping? How do you, do it yourself? Because my goal is to help everybody develop an empowered practice for tapping, which is not an easy thing to do. It's not easy to do, create a consistent practice for anything for many of us. And, tapping is no exception in that. So, but the effects are profound and cumulative, right? So, where was I going? I was going to have dinner with my grandson, my 16-year-old grandson. And I was driving there and my stomach really bothered me. And so I got in my car and I was like, oh, I just had some sharp pains in my stomach. And I thought, well, I'm going to tap on this. So I'm drive one-handed, and I start tapping on this sharp pain in my stomach. So I go around with it, and then it's like I start thinking, what might this be related to? And it's like, well, now I can't remember the things that came up, but I do remember that one of them, as I was thinking about all these things, worrying about, I don't know, different things. And then it's like a big worry, came up, and, the big worry that came up had to do with COVID and vaccines and all that kind of stuff, and my family, and this worry, this deep worry from my family and my grandchildren. And that really, it really got to me. Like, that's something that's really deep, and it's been impacting me, particularly lately for the past couple of weeks. And so I was tapping on that, and I was worrying about that. I was worrying about it. And I was tapping on those worries. And I was just saying, worried about this, or worried about this piece of it, worried about that, and wanting, oh my God, it's just so wanting my grandchildren to have such wonderful lives, right? And for them to have children, and their children to have children, and to have everybody be able to participate in growing, a more beautiful world. And then I realized that my stomach didn't hurt anymore. And at one point I realized that it was now in my intestines. So then I was tapping on my intestines, and I just tapped on what came up. And I just moved, I'd sit there, and as I was tapping, something would come to my awareness. And so the next time through, I would tap on that. And I kept tapping on that. And I probably tapped for 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more. And then I realized that my stomach didn't hurt. My stomach ache was completely gone. And I got there and, had the delight of being with my grandson. We went out to eat, and everything was wonderful. It was really good. So I thought, oh, I can share that with you. It's like, how do I do, if I'm gonna do this myself, how do I do it? And people, as you know, so often stumble on the words. And I'm just like, just let your own words guide you. Whatever words come up, use those words, because your words have power. They have power for you. They resonate for you, their vibration. So they resonate, and you're choosing them, whether they're coming from your conscious or your unconscious, right? And so they're carrying the vibration of what's really happening in you. Words are just symbolic. They're signs, right? They're representations of what is real inside of us. And so let your own words, even if it feels like, I don't know what to tap on, like, I don't feel good, I don't feel great, I'm upset, I'm worried, I'm whatever. And just tap and just keep going through and going through and going through. And I love tapping while I'm driving, I have to tell you. One of my favorite things to do on a long road trip is to tap. And sometimes I'll tap for altogether a couple of hours on a long road trip. So, I just want to, give you that little bit of thought and perhaps inspiration. We can, when I was so excited too when I saw the piece about tumor suppression, because there are anecdotal stories of people healing cancer with just tapping. Admittedly, they spent weeks doing almost nothing but tapping and just tapping on everything that came up, every little moment from the past that came up, every concern, every worry, every whatever. And at the end of a month, I've heard of at least 2 anecdotal experiences of this where the cancer was then gone. And the first one I ever heard of, which some of you may have heard of, it was a son who brought his mother home to die because the hospital said we can't do anything more. And so, I just, this is really powerful. And it seems so simple that we don't think that, it's that big a deal. But I think it's a huge deal. And when I say we can transform our lives with it, I think that's absolutely positively true. So there's that. Okay. And then I want to share with you. It turns out both Angela and I get Rob Bresney's weekly astrological report. You may have heard me mention him before. He wrote a book called Pronoia quite a number of years ago now. And I think the subtitle is something like it's the antidote to paranoia. And it's just filled with really inspiring, wildly, wonderfully inspiring kinds of things. But so it just came out this week, just came today, and he had something on psychology, the psychological and the spiritual, which I thought was really appropriate for here. So I want to read this. So he said, psychological work focuses more on what has gone wrong, how we have been wounded in our relations with others, and how to go about addressing that, right? So we all know that. That's a big part of what I like and suggesting people go back to, right? Well, what's happened in the past? What hurt? How did it hurt? What still sticks? What's still there? And then spiritual work focuses more on what's intrinsically right, how we have infinite resources at the core of our nature that we can cultivate in order to live more expansively. If psychological work thins the clouds, right? So we can see more light, feel the radiance of the sun more. Spiritual work invokes the sun. So it calls the sun forth. That's from John Wellwood, transpersonal psychologist or psychotherapist from quite a ways back. He's written some wonderful books. Rob says to that, he would add that the spirit is about rising above and seeking what's most noble, while the soul is about diving in. Have you heard me say that? Like diving deep and surfacing, diving in and wrestling with exactly what is. Both tasks are valuable, he says. Neither realm is inherently better or more important. If you have a bias one way or the other, it's usually best to be conscientious about maintaining a balance. And I would say that regardless of whether you have a bias, that it's probably usually best to be conscientious about the balance. And that is the core of my work, is to help people experience the balance so they can experience or open up to both so they can experience the expansiveness from going into the depth of the soul to the height of the spirit. And then there's one more piece here from the Dalai Lama, who says, I call the high and light aspects of my being, he says, spirit, right? So the high and light aspects of my being, your being, or spirit, and the dark and heavy aspects, soul. Soul is at home in the deep shaded valleys. Heavy, torpid flowers saturated with black grow there. The rivers flow like warm syrup. Spirit is a land of high, white peaks and glittering jewel, like lakes and flowers. Life is sparse and sounds travel great distances in spirit. So just to share that, hope that that touches something within you, either deep or high, or both. All right, so after the sort of fun in the beginning and those pieces, I invite all of us together into our moment here where we begin of sacred pausing, where we begin with our breath. We begin with closing our eyes and feeling what we feel inside now. Cesse, c'est la me. And after a few breaths, you might want to consciously deepen that breath and then drop it out as a waterfall breath, or begin to push it out more as a straw breath. And that's reminding me that I had not really a request, I don't think, but there was a suggestion made that one way of reincorporating the energy exercises and the breath work back in is that people do it perhaps while there's conversation going on, or perhaps while I'm speaking, so that we don't lose that piece completely. You know, we will do that at the retreat, but the benefit of doing it at least once a month, I think, you know, I kind of let go of that, but I think it's really important, you know, that we have a monthly reset. It'd be great, you know, when we get the group going, the full or the new moon group, you know, have that as a part, you know, that we're resetting in the new moon, new beginnings, you know, and so using that time to make sure that we are energetically rebalanced. So let's take one of them right now. Let's do the central hookup because it's quiet. We're in a quieter place right now. So your middle finger goes on your belly button, other middle finger in your third eye. You're going to push in and lift up. Close your eyes, drop your shoulders, and we're going to breathe here. And again, making your breath conscious and your breathing conscious. You might want to do more of a waterfall or more of a straw breath. Continuing, feeling the bottoms of your feet, knowing that as you're feeling the bottoms of your feet, that's a sign that you are becoming more grounded, that you're opening up and allowing the earth energies to flow into you and through you. And so you might remember, even though we haven't done this for a while, that as you breathe in, to breathe up the back of your body. So you breathe in up your feet and up the back of your legs, up the back of your pelvis, up your spine, all the way up the spine to the top of your head. And then as you exhale, then breathing out, exhaling out down the front of your body. I was looking at the chat while I was trying to talk. So breathing in up the back of your feet, and then down the front of your body. So we're really getting those living energies from the earth to circulate within us. Remembering to push all the way out to make room for the new, fresh, oxygen-rich air. Let's do one more. All right, bring your hands down. Check in with yourself. Feel what you feel. Feel yourself feeling. Can you feel yourself feeling in your belly button? Can you feel yourself feeling in your calves? Can you feel yourself feeling in your heels, your toes? And can you feel yourself feeling in your heart? And as you get to your heart, you may want to place your hands on top of your heart center. And send gratitude to all the parts of yourself for showing up here, to your spirit and your soul, to the divine beings of pure light and love who have gathered here to support the circle, including the people who are not here right now but are part of our circle. Supporting each one of us. Perhaps taking a moment to give gratitude for the good, the lovely light things that have happened. Let's say the spirit-filled experiences that have happened over the course of the past week. Even if we certainly don't remember all that what they all are, and certainly didn't recognize all of them in the moment. and to give gratitude to the soul level energies that were here with us, that were active and got our attention and didn't, whether we remembered or not, and how both have contributed to our being here, to our aliveness and our health, and moved us on our path, our journey through life this week. And as I'm saying that, I'm just going to share that I suddenly started feeling a real surge of energy up through my feet. Which I don't ordinarily notice. Seeing if you can feel how that gratitude helps to open your heart, warm your heart. Your hands are warming your heart. The energy that you're recirculating into your heart is warming your heart. And as we warm our hearts, we help soften our hearts that are often so guarded and have been so protected and maybe so shut down. But right now, we're inviting our hearts to open into this beautiful space that we are all sharing together now. And so let's start tapping, since our hands are here, one reason. And so I mentioned soul things, right? Soul level things. And of course, those oftentimes are difficult and challenging. And so looking to the difficult and challenging moments that perhaps we've experienced this week that we recall, or that we experienced and we're not recalling, but there's still a charge there. You know, if we didn't I want to say two things. One, if we didn't do the release work to move it completely through, or it wasn't a situation in which we, in some other way, moved it completely through to resolution. So in either of those, if either of those things didn't happen, there's still charge inside, adding to the charge we habitually carry around inside that causes friction, if you will, you know, in all the subsystems inside. Friction in our nervous system, so static and friction. And so let's focus on that. So even though there were challenges that I experienced and felt this week that I haven't completely cleared, I love myself and I'm going to clear them now. Even though there are maybe even micro moments where little charges happened that maybe I didn't notice, but are still impacting how I'm feeling now, I choose to, I give myself permission to release those charges now, to move them through and let them resolve so that I can gather the teaching, the freedom, the wisdom that is inherent in those soul messages. Top of your head. A nice deep breath here again. Bringing our awareness back to all of those higher dimensional beings gathered, to all of us gathered, and our higher dimensional selves gathered here together to support our healing and growth and each other's. Eyebrows. All this charge from this week on the side of your eyes, whatever is upsetting to me that I'm carrying right now, that's at the surface of my awareness or a little deeper in, underneath. All the upsets, the stresses, the worries, the resentments, the discombobulations. My week had lots of discombobulations. Well, past couple days. All these little stressors that are weighing me down right now, below your lips, lowering my vibration, collarbones, maybe impacting, lowering my mood, my clogging up my reception to higher vibration and to the light. On the sides, like clouds, like the Dalai Lama said, or was it Rob? Anyway, like thinning the clouds. I want to thin these clouds that obscure the light within my own being. So I want to feel that light. I want to feel more of that light. And I am willing, on the wrist, I am willing to do whatever is necessary for me to feel more light and more joy inside, and for me to expand my capacity in all the ways that bring my life more joy and meaning, satisfaction and connection. Up to the high heart, releasing all these charges, letting them flow through, opening myself to assistance from beyond, and breathing into this releasing. So right now, while we're here, I invite you to do some waterfall breathing and feel yourself breathing out the charges, breathing out the rest of the emotional wave from all the different moments this week. Let me, a word that they use in Noetic at IONS is harvesting. Like, let me gather from all the experiences this week, all the goodness that is meant for me to feel. All the ways that these experiences are here to help me grow. You know, we're all those of us gathered here, and most of us who listen to it, but we're all at a wide certain age. We're all at least not young women anymore. And so in many ways, most of us are at that stage, if not all of us, that very long stage of letting go, beginning to let go. Like we worked so hard to become who we were. We worked so hard to do what we thought was the right thing to do, right? We worked so hard to build as strong a sense of ourself as we knew how to do, as we could, given the particulars of our past and the way that sort of put a drag effect on our forward movement, right? To say the least, sometimes. But at this point in our life, we're learning so much more about letting go. I guess I should say even young people are learning about letting go. My granddaughter, who's 17, is talking about letting go. So there's a way that we are in an age of learning to let go, to open up. We need to let go to open up to spirit. So that's an interesting synchronicity. That in this time when we understand that we could be in the midst of huge transformation, that there's so much more awareness about letting go. And the more we all do that, the more we bring ourselves into a place where we can catapult into transformative expansiveness, a creative life that feeds the soul and spirit of all of us. All right. Check in with yourself, see what you notice. How are you feeling now? So let's go through. Okay, so one thing at a time. I asked you how you were feeling. I want you to feel that, mark that in your memory so you have that. If you want to write that down in your journal or a logbook somewhere, in a sense of what these spaces, what these inner spaces, inner realms feel like. What, so that we increase our awareness of, like I notice this happens and I feel this or that. Writing those things down helps us to be more conscious and to remember more. Okay. And so I imagine that each of you came with something that you wanted to focus on tonight. And so let's begin with that. And what we'll do is a variation on the theme of limiting beliefs. Saying that's reminding me that that's one of the things that I want to get rolled out here soon, so that you have the wording to do it on your own if you haven't gone through. I know some of you have gone through and written it down from the recordings, so that you can do more of the limiting belief work on your own. That's so helpful. All right, so we're going to start with a belief associated with whatever it is you're going to work on tonight. So I'll give you a moment to structure the words, come up with the words. some variation of not enough, not belonging. Maybe they all boil down to those two. Okay. All right, so we're going to go through with tapping. So even though I still have this belief, let's say that I'm going to love myself and feel better now anyway. Even though I still have this belief that I am going to love myself and feel better now anyway. Even though I still have this belief that I am going to love myself and feel better now anyway. So top of your head. Ways it's hard to, let me say it this way. The parts of me that don't want to let go of this belief. The ways I don't want to let go of this belief. Eyebrows, the doubt that it's possible for me to really, truly, deeply let go of this belief. On the sides, this belief that I won't let go of this belief, or this fear, or this worry that I won't let go of this belief underneath your eyes. And I don't trust myself to do everything I need to do to let go of this belief. I think I'll probably end up holding on to it above your lips. And I don't completely give myself permission to let go of this belief. Below your lips. And it doesn't feel safe to let go of this belief, or the ways it doesn't feel safe to let go of this belief. Collarbones, the ways it doesn't feel good to let go of this belief. Maybe it's a good idea, it seems like, for me to keep this belief. This has happened a lot this week, that so many people have been like, no, I need to hold on to this, I need to hold on to this fear, actually, because, it keeps me safe. And it's such a strong, it's so strong inside for so many of us to feel like we have to hold on to that to be safe. And yet it's not true. But the pull can be very strong on the sides. The ways that I feel I don't deserve to let go of this belief. Maybe I deserve to feel this way about me. For whatever I'm blaming myself for, whatever I'm holding myself responsible for, judging myself for. Wrists. And, there are these reasons, like I was just saying, like why I'm, not willing to let go. It's like there feels like there's reasons. Sometimes therapists call it secondary gain. I don't like that phrase, but there are these reasons or these benefits, it feels like, for holding on to this. Collarbones. And the ways I don't forgive myself for having this belief. I don't forgive myself for doing this to myself, because I get that I'm doing it to myself. And ways I don't feel like I can forgive myself for letting go of it, because it's been with me for such a long time, or whatever reason, or, I'm still not completely settled with letting it go. On the top of your head, finally, feeling like I can't let go of it because it's woven all the way throughout me. Right? Back to eyebrows. I want to let go of this belief. On the sides, it is possible for me to let go of this belief. And you may notice that my voice has changed a little bit, the timbre of my voice, the intonation a little bit. So I encourage you to do the same thing, as you're repeating these, to have your voice come from deeper within you and add some more conviction, some more strength. So you might say it a little bit louder, like, I will let go of this belief. I will free myself of this belief. Above your lips. I will do everything necessary to let go of this belief. Below your lips. I give myself permission to let go of this belief. Collarbones. And it is safe for me to let go of this belief. It is safe. I am safe letting go of this belief. On the sides, it is good for me to let go of this belief. I know it is good for me to free myself of this belief. Wrist. I'm willing to let go of all the benefits, all the reasons for keeping this belief. I am willing to let go of those reasons. High heart. And I deserve to let go of this belief. And everyone I love deserves for me to let go of this belief so I can show up in more of my wholeness. So I can part more of those clouds and let the sun shine from within me more, because the sun does live within the center of my being. Top of your head. I have the right to let go of this belief. And perhaps the responsibility to let go of this belief. Eyebrows. I forgive myself for having this belief, no matter what. On the sides, I forgive myself for letting go of this belief, no matter what. And underneath your eyes, I can let go of this belief, even though it has been woven throughout the whole of me. Above your lips, unweaving this belief. Below your lips, unweaving this belief. Collarbones, thymus, all around your upper heart center, unweaving this belief from throughout the whole of me. I no longer invite this belief to live within me. On the sides, I will not be home to this belief anymore. Wrists, I rescue all the parts of me from the weight, the heaviness, the fragmentation, the isolation from this belief. Back up to the high heart. unweaving this belief from throughout the whole of me and asking all the divine beings gathered, all the parts of me, the power of our circle, to help me completely and totally release this belief from within the whole of my being now. A couple of nice deep breaths. Feeling from inside of you where you are now. And then seeing lined up or one at a time in front of you at a safe distance, people who have been associated with this belief. Right, we know how to do this work. The people who have unloaded their emotion, their beliefs, their energy onto us, the ways that we accepted it originally because we had no defenses against it. And then perhaps because of how we were magnetized to these negative beliefs and sometimes got hooked in to attachments to people who weren't always the most loving, to put it mildly, and send whatever energy you can feel inside back to them now. Any hooks that you feel or that you might notice that might still be there, unhook. Really just feel like unhooking, like Inanna in the underworld, unhooking herself so that she could leave the underworld and come back up into the light. Well, she did that with assistance. Actually, it was magical beings who helped do that so that they could bring her back up into the light. And so we call on all the magical and divine beings within us and around us to unhook these energies that keep us stuck and trapped. Sending all that energy back to whoever it was wounded in whatever ways they were wounded, acting out their wounding, however they were doing that, sending it all back. Not ours. Maybe we found some more in little nooks and crannies inside. Sending it back, piling it up in front of them. They remove the piles. And if they don't do it willingly, they're made to do it by handlers. Deep breaths. Feeling that energy almost drain from within you. Perhaps beginning to feel the places inside where there's now more space and more light, or more space to bring in more light. Feeling yourself surrounded by that golden white healing light and bringing your own energy back from wherever you may have left it, in somebody else, in some other situation, one of the experiences of your life. Bring that energy back now. Freeing yourself from the effects of that moment, those moments in time. And now feeling yourself standing someplace that's a place of power, a place of true power, right? True, divine, love-filled power. Feeling the clouds parting or having already thinned so that you can feel the light of the sun beginning to pour down into you. Pour down into your own sun in the center of your being. And feel that powerful energy of the sun and your sun spreading throughout the whole of your being. Continuing to breathe in that light. Feel your connection to the earth. Breathing in light from above and love from the earth. Feeling them mingle and dance within the sacredness of your own being. Feeling inside, feeling the cells of your being, perhaps even dancing with joy and delight. Feeling the regulation, the turning on of all of these genes that promote health and well-being, that are all about coming back into balance and aliveness with peace. Marking this energy matrix right now in your awareness, in your conscious awareness, so that you might return to it with more ease. And with that, I bid you a beautiful week, a week where you feel with joy and appreciation, well, maybe not always joy, but with trust, the emanations of spirit and of soul in your life and the life of the world as we continue this powerful, essential work of transforming our inner and outer worlds. And I send my love with the blowing out of this candle, honoring everyone gathered here. Blessed be everyone. If anyone wants to